This video will be explaining to ELA 20 students in Mrs. T's class a little bit about the To Kill a Mockingbird literary analysis essay that you guys have to do. So it's pretty simple. You guys have written literary analysis essays before, at least one in grade 9 and probably one each in ELA A10 and B10. Well, maybe not B10. Maybe not A10 because we weren't in class for that long. Anyway, we're going to start a literary analysis essay today in To Kill a Mockingbird. So pretty simple details, 3 to 4 pages long. That is double spaced. I would like this one typed up if possible, please. If not, you can do it, written by hand. Just double the length, right? So typing and handwriting. Typing is usually about half the size of a written word, and so if we want to double the pages, if you write it by hand, 6 to 8 pages long, please, also double spaced. I want you to include a cover page that has a descriptive or creative title, your class name, your teacher's name, and the due date. Centered or left aligned is fine. Just make sure that all those things are on there. This essay I have tentatively set due date for December 11th. At the very latest, I'd like it in by December 18th, please. I'd like you to use MLA citation, including a works cited page. We will talk about works cited next time we are together. You don't need to worry about that right now. Today, to begin this assignment, I simply want you to pick a prompt or two, do some brainstorming, do some searching through your novel, think about evidence, think about support, think about some analysis, okay? Each paragraph, so it's going to be 5 paragraphs, an introduction, 3 body paragraphs, and a conclusion, same format you're used to. Each paragraph must have at least one direct quotation to support your analysis or claim. Use that PEE analysis method, right? Your point, evidence, and explanation. Double spaced it, as I said before, using size 12 font, please. You've got a few essay topics from which you can choose, and if you'd like to develop your own essay topic, that's great. Just run it by me first. First topic, examine the use of the mockingbird as a symbol in the novel. What does the mockingbird symbolize? Which 3 characters can be considered mockingbirds? Second option, at the end of the novel, Scout thinks that Jem and I would get grown, but there wasn't much else left for us to learn. What important lessons have either Scout or Jem learned from Atticus's defense of Tom Robinson and the events surrounding the trial? Several times, Atticus emphasizes the need to consider things from another's point of view. How does following his advice change the children's opinions of other people in Maycomb? What is the author's underlying message about seeing things from another's viewpoint? Prompt 4. As the novel progresses, Scout and Jem come to understand and value Atticus. What events caused this development of the children's admiration for their father? How does each event contribute to their understanding of Atticus? 5. Examine the theme of prejudice in To Kill a Mockingbird. How is prejudice demonstrated in the story and by whom? What is the author's underlying message about prejudice? And number 6, I guess I should say for number 5, there are many different types of prejudice. I think for this 5th option, choosing one type of prejudice would be best. I think if you chose a few different types, your essay would not have enough depth to be really effective. So I would choose one type of prejudice for that option. Number 6, examine the theme of courage in the novel. How is courage demonstrated in the story and by whom? And what is the author's underlying message about courage? For that one, I would suggest examining 3 different events or moments in the novel where courage was displayed, explaining why that was courageous, and tying that back to your thesis about courage, okay? So here's a graphic organizer. I like this one because it's got quite a bit of explanation in it. It does have a few things that are sort of superfluous or extra. This is one that I was given, a couple of years ago, and I just haven't taken the time to redraft it into something that I really, really, really like. But it is a good support for you if you want to use it. So you're pre-writing, and this is where you'll be starting today for sure. What is the essential question of the assignment? This is where you write your essay prompt. Okay, don't worry about this due date section here. I'm not going to look at different sections of your essay all at once or at different times, so you can kind of ignore this piece. Okay, maybe I will see if I can do some marking up on here. So, oh, I can. Good. Look at me learning and exploring things as I make a video for you all. So you can ignore this. Let's see, is it going to work? I don't know. Just ignore this piece here that I'm drawing on in white. Okay. Oh, there it is finally. Okay. Your second piece is brainstorming. Use the section to begin answering the essential question. You should go back to the text to begin gathering information that will help you answer this question. For brainstorming, this is where you're gonna, just like kind of do a brain dump, put all of your thoughts on the paper. You might here want to identify like different quotations or different moments in the story that are coming to mind. Kind of just putting your thoughts down so that you can organize them in a more logical fashion later. Some of you guys might want to do like a web. Some of you might want to do like a table. Okay, some of you will just do jot notes. Remember, you can have events. Oh God, I'll type that down. Remember that you can have events, people, quotations, initial analysis. Oh God, initial analysis, possible thesis statements. Okay, so that's what goes here when you are doing your brainstorming. This part is important because you are going to, kind of get your thoughts down here, right? It's really good to do a bunch of brainstorming before you begin in on your actual planning of your essay. It may take a couple of pages. It might, you might have to do this a few times to get it figured out, but take time to do some good brainstorming. Your introductory paragraph, I think it's a really well broken down organizer for you. So your introduction should start, and we're gonna start here. Your introduction should start on a general level with lead-in statements and gradually focus on the specific topic of the essay. In the introduction, the reader should find the main idea of the essay expressed in the thesis statement. Also in the introduction, the reader should be able to tell what specific points about the main idea will be discussed and in what order they will be developed. I like this organizer because it gives you information about each of the points and kind of leads you through. So the first thing you do, this is where you start, okay? Number 1. This is your lead-in statement. Introduction of the broad topic. Lead-in statements might make a striking assertion, provide an anecdote or example that helps to illustrate your subject, use an interesting detail, statistic, or quote, or ask a provocative question. Regardless of your approach, you need to let your reader know about the broad subject of the essay. This is not where you say, I'm going to be talking about To Kill a Mockingbird. This is where you say, courage comes in many different forms, or prejudice has been part of our world for a long time and we're still struggling with it in the 21st century. Or it could be, those who suffer in our society sometimes suffer needlessly, and those who are innocent sometimes suffer the most. Okay, so that's a broad topic or broad subject that you introduce there. The second thing that you do, if you follow this little arrow down here, this is number 2. You introduce your works of literature and the author. So you need to incorporate this into your lead-in or your brief overview sections of your paragraph. So you've got, okay, courage. Then you say, one novel in which courage is explored in depth is Harper Lee's novel To Kill a Mockingbird. And you will maybe even include the year it was published. Okay. The next thing you do is a brief overview of the work of literature to be discussed. So a history, a plot summary, etc. This should present information that informs your audience about the work of literature you're discussing in terms of your broad subject. So 2 sentences, extremely broad. Okay, you don't need to retell the whole novel there. You want to make sure that you are giving a very brief summary of what this novel is about as it relates to the subject you are exploring. Then you identify the ideas you will address in the body of the essay. This is sometimes referred to as the map or blueprint of the body. Your key points, arguments, and or definitions that you will discuss in the body of your essay should be introduced here. So again, for example, you might say that courage is explored 3 different times. When Atticus shoots the dog Tim Johnson, when Atticus stands up to the crowd in front of the jail before the trial, and when he is, I don't know. And when Boo Radley defends the children against Bob Ewell's attacks after the Halloween pageant. Okay, the thesis statement then is not going to have those specific pieces in it. Okay, because you've given your broad outline. Your thesis statement is going to be courage is shown throughout the novel. There are 3 different types of courage. Are the courage of our convictions, the courage in our actions, and the courage in our thoughts, or something like that. Okay, the thesis statement is going to be the official and ultimate outline of your essay. That is where you show the order in which your body paragraphs are going to run. And again, because there are so many different essay prompts, it's hard for me to say exactly what your thesis will look like, but we can and will talk about good thesis statements in our next lesson. Today, we're really just thinking about your main topic. You can start your introduction a little bit here, the ideas you'll address in the body of the essay, and finding evidence, working through these pieces as they make sense to you. Please remember that your essay is like a stool. Okay, it needs all of these pieces to support your argument. So your thesis statement is where you sit. That's the most important thing, right? It's the face, I guess, of your ideas, of your argument. The evidence is what supports the stool, right? It gives it structure, it gives it strength. Your discussion is what pulls it all together and makes it work as one complete coherent unit. So your essay needs all 3 of those. Your body paragraph number 1, it's the same as the body paragraph 2 and 3, so I'm only going to go through this sheet once. But once you've got your ideas, you've got your evidence, you've got your thesis figured out, follow this path for body paragraphs. The first thing you do is your topic sentence. The topic sentence should be a major point of argument that supports your thesis statement. This is the topic of the following paragraph. You then scooch to your evidence. So if we're thinking about that PEE, this is your point, your first point, right? Okay, the evidence is the quotations. And then your discussion, and so this is why I want to redo this, and I haven't yet. The discussion is the explanation. And I'll just put that arrow there. Okay, explanation goes there. So this still has that point, evidence, explanation structure. Following the arrows, you kind of work your way through, but in the evidence spot, you provide several specific details or facts that help to prove or support your thesis statement. Be sure to tell where this information comes from, the page, for sure, the page. If you even look at the essay prompts up above here, this is what it should look like, okay? You need the last name, the comma, the page number. Your first piece of evidence goes here. Your first piece of explanation goes here. And again, this is another reason why it's a good outline, but it's not the best because what I should do when I have the time is connect these two together. But evidence goes here, explanation goes there for your first quotation. For your second, if you have a second, that goes there for your quotation, and it goes here for your explanation. Okay? They should be connected together in your essay. If you're not exactly sure what that means, talk to me about it. But for now, just make sure that evidence goes here, explanation goes here, and we'll talk about how you can put that together into a good paragraph when you're getting closer to your final good draft. Okay. Then you have a punch sentence, or your last sentence there. This sentence clarifies the paragraph's relation to the thesis statement and purpose of the paper as a whole. It should answer these questions. How is this paragraph's point important to my paper, and why did I just tell all this to my reader? So it answers that so what question. Okay, if it doesn't answer so what, why does it matter? It's not a good analytical piece, and it's not going to be persuasive. Between paragraphs, you need to make sure that you have transitions. So, first, second, third, another, additionally, consequently, those kind of words that link your ideas together, but also cue the reader that you're moving from one major idea to the next. If we skip through to our concluding paragraph, it starts off with a restatement of the thesis. It doesn't repeat the thesis, but it restates it. So it might be something like, the way that people act, think, and speak, shows different forms of courage. And Harper Lee's novel To Kill a Mockingbird is a great example of how thoughts, speech, and actions show courage. Okay. The concluding paragraph should include a general summary statement. So again, I just did that. A conclusion should also contain the end of a split anecdote that would finish the story begun in the introduction. If you did that, I don't recommend. It could contain insights of the essay writer, and this is what I think is the most important. Okay, contain insights of the essay writer, emphasize the importance of one of the points of the essay, and create a solid sense of finality. So it always answers again, so what? Why did I just read this? Why does it matter? How am I a different person now? How should I think differently or act differently or approach things differently as a reader, as a thinker, as a citizen after reading this essay? Okay. You restate your key supporting points and arguments. These were presented in the topic sentences of the body paragraphs. So again, restate, not repeat. And then you have a wrap up, which is that so what section, sometimes referred to as the kicker statement. You may discuss the ideas beyond what has been stated in the essay, draw a further conclusion, or give an opinion. However, you should not include new evidence in your last paragraph. That is key. Do not include quotations. Do not include new arguments. Do not include new ideas in your conclusion. You restate, you reaffirm, you tell me again why what you were doing matters. After you have filled out or used this structure to create your analytical essay, begin your first draft. I don't think you'll get there today, but if you do, that's amazing. Next day, I will continue to support you guys through your essay writing, thinking about MLA citation and thesis statements. Okay, thanks for your time. If you have any questions, let me know. Make sure to rewatch this too if you are uncertain about things. Thank you.